Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of the Tragics. We're well rested, we're back in the chair, behind the desk after a week off. So I welcome my co-panelist Nick Armistead. Did you enjoy your week off?
Oh, I did enjoy my week off, but I did miss being behind the desk with you, as we are most weeks.
Don't tell the viewers what we get up to behind the desk. Nick, great week in Adelaide. We did see each other in Adelaide.
Yep.
The two big V sides had a win.
Yeah, great. A fantastic weekend. Some big wins too. 37 points for the women, obviously the 50-point win for the men's after going down 2 years ago.
Margy Gleeson from the Victorian women's side is going to join us at the desk later on in the show. We've got Luce to talk women's footy as well. Big round, some upsets in the women's Premier section in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I think the top three teams are all on the same amount of premiership points, which I know Luce will touch on, but getting very, very exciting in the women's.
What took your fancy out of the weekend of footy?
Well, I had a couple of things. First of all, it was soccer to MND round in the VAFA. It was great to see a number of the VAFA teams get around it. Special congratulations goes to De La Salle and to Old Trinity, who raised $19,000.
They broke the 15,000.
They did.
Yeah, great effort.
They did. So it's $40,000 over 3 years that they've had that game now. But most of all, the best thing for me was going down to Hawthorn on the weekend, and I actually had the chance to try their tragic dim sims. 3 for $2, and I can tell you, they're as good as they look. They are absolutely beautiful. That's
what we like to see now. I've got some bad news on the dim sim front. Obviously, we were over in South Australia and can report that at the footy in South Australia, they just don't serve dim sims, which is, I think, a travesty. I can also report that they were serving some sort of weird drink called West End, which was no good.
I'll tell you what, a few of them got drank though, to be perfectly
honest.
honest.
In the aftermatch only. And the other one is the water in Adelaide's just no good.
I didn't even try it, to be perfectly honest
well, after a few West Ends, you needed a bit of water the next day.
And to be fair, you were doing a lot of running during the women's game as well.
That's right, that's right. No, it's great to be over there for a couple of wins. Amazing tribute also at Hawthorn for Dan Loletta, who sadly passed away last week as well.
Tragically, obviously. Dan, who's a champion of Hawthorn, a competition best and fairest winner, premiership player, just a superstar. It was a brilliant tribute to him.
He's kicked over 1,000 goals in the VAFA. Just unbelievable.
That is
champion of that club.
And there's still a lot of players there that are playing in the reserves, especially, that are great mates with him. And both Canterbury joined in with Hawthorn, had a great tribute to him where they presented his jumper and everything like that. So obviously, very, very sad circumstances, but a great tribute. Our
thoughts and condolences to all of the Loletta and Hawthorn Amateur Football Club families out there. On to William Buck Premier section. Great to have the footy back on the weekend. What was the result that really stood out for you the most? I mean, there was a couple of interesting ones. Old Trinity beating De La Salle in that MND Cup match. It was a big result for Old Trinity to put them back in the four. Equally, De La Salle now down in that bottom rut of teams that are on 3 wins.
Well, exactly. And now they're down in 9th. They are in the relegation territory. So that was probably the biggest result for me. Old Trinity welcomed back a couple of very handy players in Harry Tinney, Ed Weatherson, Alex Haziotis. And they were trailing all day, but gradually coming back. And in that last quarter, Harry Tinney just turned it on. Alex Polidorus kicked 3 goals, and they got up by 6 points.
Yeah, big result for the Tees. Equally big result on the other side of it was OM's going down to the Cardinals. And for the Cardinals, they've just responded magnificently in the last few weeks to get not only their first win, but then they've broken through, won a second and a third. They're going to stay up.
Are they going to stay up?
I think they're going to stay up. I wrote them off earlier in the year. I'm happy to backflip and say they'll stay up.
But I'm the same as you. I actually wrote them off also. I thought because of those really close losses, and we spoke about it, how hard it is to come back from that, but they've actually gone the other way and they've started winning. And now because they did have those close losses, their percentage is quite good.
97. They're going beautifully. Another team that's in trouble but has still got a good percentage is Old Zaz. Now, they had a big loss to St Kevin's on the weekend. Probably didn't do their percentage any good, losing by 10 goals. But all the same, only 3 wins for the year so far for Zavs.
Yeah, they'd be very disappointed with how they've started the year. I mean, St Kevin's, they had every reason to be up and about for Anthony Lynch's 250th. He's a former panellist here and a superstar of our competition. But Zaz actually, at the start of that third quarter, had about 3 or 4 shots on goal, which were probably kickable that they missed. St Kevin's bounced straight back from that. They took those hits and they just went forward and they just kicked for the next quarter and a half, I think 11 goals or something like that.
As they continue to. And well done to Plugger as well on 250 games. Amazing achievement that. We mentioned the Cardinals having a win. Old Brighton beat Uni Blues again in another close one. And I reckon they're locked in for the 4 now, Old Brighton. But also, Uni Blues just can't get it going.
No, they can't. They haven't got it going at all this season. We look at the list and it's so good, but they did come hard in that 4th quarter. They came to within a goal until you have a look at this goal here from Anthony Zimmerman. Kicked it out of the air and put him back in front. Got the boys up and about, so it killed that little momentum shift that the Blues did have. And Brighton, I agree with you, are locked in for the 4.
Big takeaway from the Big V game was Tommy Quinn playing off a half-back flank. I reckon there's more opportunities for him to be doing that at Blues rather than just that forward dynamo role he's been playing. He got a lot of the ball and looked really, really handy across half-back.
Well, speaking to him pre-season, he had been working on his tank massively because he wanted to play more through the midfield. But if you're coming off half-back as well, because we know he's got beautiful skills.
He's prodigious foot on him. He kicks it
Correct.
so far. And that's just when you can send penetrating balls into the forward line like that. I reckon he's a big asset off half-back.
Well, maybe that's what they need to do. They need to try something. Maybe they need to try someone like a Quinny off half-back.
The Tigers went down to the Lions. Disappointing result for St Bede's Mentone Tigers. Another big loss for them. I probably think they're the ones that are locked in to be one of the two going down at this stage.
How big is the game that they've got this weekend against Oldsavarians?
Yeah, massive game.
Yeah.
Down at Brindisi, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, so that'll be a big game. And if they can jag one against Zavs, then Zavs are right in that mix as well. That's fascinating at the bottom end of William Buck Premier. On to Premier B. St Bernard's beating Old Carey was probably the highlight there. The Snow Dogs running out massive winners by 10 goals over the Panthers, who had beaten St Bernard's back in round 2, running away with it in the last quarter. This time it was St Bernard's all day, really. 8 goals from Chad Jones was probably the difference up forward, whereas for the Panthers, they just couldn't get it going throughout the day, and I think one of the young players also suffered a bit of a knee injury, which I haven't got the result on yet as well. So that held up the game a little bit. Maybe they lost a bit of momentum, but they were already, I think, 50 points down at that stage. So just disappointing day at the office for the Panthers. Does
this result scare you a little bit for Premier B? For the majority of the season, the first half of the season, is that there's probably been 4 teams that have been in it, 3 or 4 teams. But St Bernard's, over the past 6 weeks, have been the standout team. Is there anyone that you think could potentially take it up to them still? Blacks or
I still think Carey and Blacks are right in it, and
yeah,
possibly Caulfield or Bowie, whoever jags that 4th spot.
I just think when you've got the Bentix and Sullivan's back full time now, Chad Jones.
The difference at the moment is the depth that St Bernard's have.
Yeah.
Being such a big club, they've got that depth. So if they're losing a couple of guys, I know Jax hasn't played for a couple of weeks for Old Carey, and a couple of others that they're missing from that team, then you're just going to have that depth issues because you don't have the strength in numbers coming through the club. So, but that's, yeah, I think they'll be all right. In Premier C, Old Camberwell beat Old Geelong by 14 points. Good win for Old Camberwell, and the Wellers are coming.
They are coming. They've made it 4 in a row now, and they led by 7 points at half-time, but won the game with the 3 unanswered goals. In the third, Ogs made a bit of a comeback in the 4th, but the Wellers have been on the precipice of the 4 for a couple of weeks now. If it wasn't for Marcelin also winning at the moment, they would be in the 4. So it's going to be interesting to see out of those two who can keep it up.
When they clash again in the second half of the year, it'll be a big game. That's it for the Premier Sections wrap. We've got Lucy Lekic talking women's footy right after this.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. Lucy Lekic joins us at the desk to talk women's footy. Lucy, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, Lenny. How are you?
Very well, thank you. What happened on the weekend? What's the big takeaway?
Big takeaway. We had Marcelin taking on Q, so that was at Victoria Park, and a rematch from round 1 where Marcelin narrowly took out that game. However, it was Q this time that won the game, and well deserved. They dominated, and they had a home ground advantage, and they were inaccurate. However, it was enough to get them across the line.
Good for the competition, do we think?
Yes.
We're happy that the She-Eagles have been put back in their place a little.
Well, that's 2 losses on the trot, isn't it?
She-Eagles?
2 losses on the trot, and
they're up and about the Marcelin girls. Obviously, hanging out with them on the trip at the Big V. They're very confident about the way they go about it, and rightly so.
2 of the best players on the ground at Big V as well, so they're always going to be hard to beat. But how good are Q looking at the moment?
Q are looking great. I mean, they all are. So the top 4, we've got Melbourne Uni, Q, Marcelin and SKOB. They're all on 6 wins apiece. SKOB the only one without having a draw. So the other top 3 have the draw, and it's a really close competition this year.
Do you have a feeling which way it's going to go?
You've changed your mind.
I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind numerous times throughout the season.
On a weekly basis. I'm Melbourne Uni.
You're rolling favourite.
I'm Melbourne Uni. That's who I picked at the start of the season, and I'm just going to stick with them because.
Who are you going with?
I'm sticking with. I said it, SKOB Saints at the start of the season. I'm sticking with them, although I am of the understanding that Sarah Cameron will be doing the old European summer, and we will lose her for the last few weeks.
One of the top goal kickers.
That could be a bit of a challenge
for
them.
Which will hurt,
yeah. That will definitely hurt.
Fair enough. What else out of the weekend?
So SKOB took on Old Trinity, and again, Sarah Cameron, the girl we were just speaking of, she's kicked 4 goals, and it's just such an integral part of their forward structure. And We also had Bree
did like,
Doyle.
just on Sarah, before you go on, she was talking to Frank Donnell, who was the assistant coach with the forwards for the VAFA women's. You go, now when they, we don't want them to mark it when they get in any kicks of opposition. She goes, they're not going to be marking it. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, you're going to be punching it. She goes, no, I'm going to be catching everything. So she's very confident.
She's got a competitive
She
streak.
does have the swag.
Yeah, a lot of swag. I love it.
Upcoming fixtures, who's looking good?
Marcelin. Marcelin have probably the easiest run home out of those top 4 sides. I think those top 4 sides are locked and are going to be the top 4 with 5 rounds remaining. However, Marcelin's going to finish on the top because they've got the best run home.
Yep. Final one to take away?
Sure. So Caulfield and Fitzroy ACU. Caulfield, again, they're bottom of the ladder, but I don't think the scoreline ever is indicative of their efforts. They kicked 3 goals, kicked 1 goal 11, and that they doubled the scoring shots of Fitzroy, who got up over them. So,
yep.
We had some great performers
You're
there.
not going to win a lot of games when you're kicking 1 goal 11, are you?
Exactly. So an inaccuracy was the deciding factor in that one.
Mind you, I'm sure we're glad we all played on Saturday rather than on Sunday. To see the conditions yesterday playing footy, unbelievable. The VFL game, I think it was
Williamstown.
Williamstown and where are we?
Down by the water.
Shocking.
Hail.
Conditions, unbelievable.
Not
But
about that.
yeah, Lucy, thanks. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Lenny.
Good
See
on
you
you,
next week.
Lucy, joining us there. Back after the break, we're going to be joined by Margy Gleeson from the Big V women's side and the SKOB Saner herself. She's going to join us at the desk after this. Welcome back to the Tragics. We're joined at the desk by SKOB Saner, Margy Gleeson and Big V rep. Congratulations on the Big V win and well done. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
What was your favourite moment of the weekend in Adelaide?
Oh, good question. Well, I was surprised going over there how much the weekend wasn't about football. So, it was a bit. But like all the stuff that came with it was so good. My favourite bit, I actually really enjoyed the presentation after with Adelaide. Talking to the girls, the Adelaide girls were so lovely. They've set the bar quite high for hosting.
Have you done a representative type weekend before?
Only once, and it's going way back to, I think I was 12 or something, and I represented Victoria in high jump in track and field, where I also went to Adelaide, so it must be in Adelaide.
And so, obviously, a lot of SKOB Saners in the side, which is nice. You get to hang out with them, but did you make friends with some of the other girls as well?
Yeah, it was really good. Even just the weekend just gone, we played Old Trinity, and one of the ruckmen from the Vic team, Emo, we played against, and at one point, Ellie and her collided or something happened, and Ellie went to run over and pick her up. I think there was a bit of confusion weekend to weekend. It was very sweet, though.
So obviously you made history going over with Jared, who was obviously in the men's side. How was that? How did the family enjoy that?
They really enjoyed it. Mum and Dad went over. It was good. We take a pretty keen interest in each other's sport, but it's been a long time since we've been able to actually share an experience like that. I've watched Jared play, I couldn't even guess how many games of football. And he's probably our #1 ticket holder down at SKOB Saints. He gets down when he can.
Is that?
I was going to say, I understand there's a different appeal now.
Is that because he's obviously watching his sister line up at centre half forward? Is maybe because he's dating one of the SKOB Saints girls?
Well, I mean, 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, I know. He's got it sorted.
Quite literally. Now, your dad, I notice he gets out to the huddles at the breaks and gives him a few coaching. No, I noticed that. You telling him, Dad, just leave it, I'm under control, or are you happy to hear his advice?
Very happy to.
Yeah.
I think at this stage I'm still sort of, especially I haven't been playing Fortnite for that long, so any advice is good advice at the moment.
Very good.
Tell us about SKOB at the moment. You obviously had a good win on the weekend. You're actually in pretty good form in 4th spot. How'd you see the game on the weekend?
Good. Tough. Rougher than maybe I'm used to or that we've seen this season. But the weather might have played a part in that a bit. It was kind of wet and...
When you say rough, so just going in harder, or is it actually like aggression after the fact as well?
No, I think just going in harder.
Yep.
And that sort of wet, kind of the wet ball and everything makes it a bit sort of grosser.
Now, we spoke prior to the game in Adelaide, and you were telling me that kicking's probably not your strongest asset, but you've gone and you snagged one on the weekend.
Yeah.
Take us through it.
It was... Who fed it to me? Ali, our ruckman, and it was a mark that was pretty close. It was on a bit of an angle, but it was pretty close in, and so I just took my time and very happy that I got it through.
So you enjoying your time on the forward line? Obviously,
Yeah, I really
natural
like
defender.
it. I prefer the forward line though. I play quite a high centre half forward, and my role is to take marks and then give off to our Cropleys and Sarah Camerons that love goals.
Yeah. Is she departing? Is that true? I think you alluded to it at the start of the show.
Who?
Sarah? She going overseas?
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
thought you meant departing the Saints. I was like,
No,
oh my
going
God.
overseas.
It's just in.
Going
No,
to Zaz.
going for a holiday overseas.
Yes, we're getting hit with the Euro trips
So how
pretty
many
hard down
how many Euro trips are there?
maybe like 6 or 7.
Is that going to damage the prospects this year?
Well, luckily they sort of kind of don't overlap too much.
Okay.
But no, we've got a great reserve side, so we've got a good pool to
Very good.
help us through.
Tell me a bit about growing up with Jared. We've got a few photos here that will show from your childhood. I think Margy Gleeson got involved and she was pretty excited to give these photos. Was he able to help you out with your footy at a young age, or were you the one teaching him, being a couple of years older?
Well, I didn't actually play heaps when I was young. Actually, I played in year 11 and 12, and we didn't talk about it that much, to be honest. Not really. I don't know.
That was at East Malvern?
Yes, that was at East Malvern Knights. We've got a lot to talk about, but footy just didn't come up that much. And there's such different games, I think, and we're different players playing on different parts of the ground and stuff. So.
How did you feel last year when you took out the A-grade flag, or the William Buck Premier flag?
Oh, that was so exciting. I was living in Sydney, but I flew down for it. And it was a pretty shocking day, but windy and messy and very back and forth. But the celebrations went on and on and on and on. And so I was able to participate in those a bit, and they were really fun.
So talk to us, you moved back from Sydney, so coming down to play footy, what made you say I want to go and play footy again? Or?
Well, Sydney is it was so different to Melbourne. I didn't realise it was going to be so different. And sporting-wise, you turn on the TV and there's rugby games, and I wasn't used to that and I didn't like it. So I came back down because I got a job, but very glad to, because I was very keen to get straight back into footy.
To play footy again. And prospects for the year, we're gonna win it. SKOBs both in the men's and the women's.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very cool.
No, I mean,
Heard it here first. Who's your toughest opponent at the moment?
Marcelin. Yeah. And they were very well represented on the weekend in Big V. They've got some really good. They're just good individuals, but good unit, and they're pretty tough. So.
Tell me about when you first went to SKOB. I think it was 2-3 years ago. What was like the first training session like? Do you know many of the girls down there? Like, are there a bit of bravado? Because I imagine a Sarah Cameron who's got a fair bit about her, sort of chest out type of stuff.
Well, the very early days, were the girls I was getting to know were 7, 8, 9 of them. So the early days when we weren't sure there was a team, were a bit tentative and there wasn't much bravado at all. But once we had established a unit, it was so great, and immediately it was so quickly. We were such a unit. Sadly, we've lost a few girls that we had in our first year, but they highlighted SKOB quite a lot how different the girls team is to the boys team, in that most of the boys come from St Kevin's, whereas we're from, I think at last count, we're from 19 different schools or something.
Incredible.
So it's amazing how quickly we kind of get together and just make our own little unit.
And who does have the most bravado? If you had to choose one of the girls,
Camo's a standout in that she's just got a wonderful sort of confidence, and she's such fun. But we've got a pair, Abby and Heidi, in the team, who somehow managed to play a dual role of cheerleader and player. They're just so enthusiastic and so much fun. They're sort of often doing dance routines in the warm-up and things like that. But they're really good for just sort of lightening the mood, and because a lot of us take it a bit seriously. So they're two girls to keep an eye out.
We'll finish on the Big V. How'd you go singing a song at the end? Did we have the words down pat, and any laughs about that process?
Well, they were so good to have the words on the ground.
Don't tell everyone. That's fine.
The rehearsals went really well for the song. Well, I mean, but they're easy words, so it was good. I mean, and everyone knows the tune, so it was
good stuff.
It was good fun.
Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure. Thanks
Good
for
luck for
having
the rest of the year for the SKOB Saints.
Thank you.
Margy Gleeson joining us there. We're going to finish off with best use of social, our big questions, and the best and worst case scenario after this.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. Time to get into all the fun stuff. Nick, best use of social media this week?
I'm going down to St Kevin's Old Boys. Now, we mentioned it earlier in the show, Anthony Lynch's 250th, and I saw a video that was put out on Friday ahead of that from his wife, Brie Lynch, who had actually filmed their son, Max, and asked him a few questions. One particular one stood out to me and was who was his favourite SKOBer. So just have a look at how young Maxie answered that one.
Dummy, every octopus, duck, little bitty, pee-pee. Daddy, autopsy.
So there you go. Unfortunately, his old man isn't even his favourite SKOBer, but congratulations to Lynchy, and that was fantastic stuff from
It's a common theme from children, I reckon. They always find other players as their favourites for some reason.
Yeah, Gilly and Straussy there on the too.
Exactly right. I'm going to Parkdale, the Vultures. They're featured, I reckon, before in this segment, but I'm really loving their Batuta advocate work. Young Mac O'Donnell has a rather large proboscis, and they did use that word in the commentary, but having a look at this Facebook post, inside mid, I just love the reference to the fan over the fence has said, "Hey mate, you've got a big nose," and he actually turned and said, "Oh, I forgot, I didn't realise I had a big nose, and thanks for reminding me." Just pure sarcasm at its best, and I think more of that, please. So
how good at Parkdale?
Yeah, Parkdale are elite at social, and they're doing a great job. The Pirates also doing some good stuff as well. Yeah,
some fantastic stuff for the MND Socket to MND round. They actually had a kick in the bucket challenge where all the boys had about 5 minutes to. Someone's just got to kick it into there. It was actually a wheelie bin, and it took about 4 minutes before someone actually got it in there.
Really hard.
It was. That was good. It was really hard. They made it look really hard anyway, and so great stuff by Peninsula. They're another team that are sensational on social media.
Yeah, really good at it. Quick questions. Let's have a look at those. Nick, for you, Old Paradians. Oh no, that's for me. Right, I'll read the rundown properly.
Old Paradians, Glen Ira, North Brunswick, all undefeated still. Can all three go through the rest of the season?
No, they can't. Old Paradians and Glen Ira will lose a game at some point. North Brunswick might do it though.
Glen Ira, you reckon?
Yeah, I think so.
I reckon they're the strongest out of the three.
That's fair. Well, you asked me the question.
That's exactly
right.
right.
I'm going to you. Manningham, Canterbury, Westbourne, Richmond and Swinburne. There's a lot of clubs there. Two of those clubs are going to take third and fourth.
They will.
Which
Hawthorn
one?
And
Which
Glen
two are
Ira,
they?
so obviously the top two. Manningham will take third. They've got an unbelievable percentage at the moment of 124%, which is about 13 above anyone else. And I think Westbourne Grammarians, they're starting to come good. They've got Chris Hudson, they've got Michael Culliver, Island Trip, Big V-Boy, and they're looking the goods. They will be the two that take third and fourth. Lenny, a couple of crunch matches in Premier this weekend. Who wins?
Well, they are, and the games you're talking about are probably some Bees Mentone and Old Zavs, and also Uni Blues and DLSL. Now, obviously, there's other games of importance as well, but I think Blues will win against Dealer, which will put them up to 20 or 18 points.
18, yep.
Yeah, 18 points, which is important for them, and that probably gets them that gap from the bottom three. I reckon some Bees are going to beat Zavs to just tighten it up down the bottom end there.
Some Bees over Zavs at Brindisi.
At Brindisi, yep. Although Zav's got a pretty good record down here, but yeah, I think St Bees will win.
And it hasn't quite been a fortress for St Bees this year. They've only had the one win there.
It hasn't quite. Well, they've only got the one win in total, don't they?
Oh, they do actually. That makes sense then.
Rightio. Best worst case from the weekend.
Best case scenario, we see an upset in Premier B. Obviously, at the start of the year, we knew that there was probably 4 teams that could really go and probably make the top 4. But it's getting a bit ridiculous at the moment with St Bernard's, Carey and Black. So I'm hoping that either Parkdale defeat Carey, Monash defeat Blacks, or Haileybury, possibly 2 out of the last 3.
It won't happen.
Get over St Bernard's.
Right, worst case scenarios. Nick, what's your worst case?
So I'm sticking with Premier B, that we see a repeat of the round 4 result between the Uni Blacks and the Monash Blues, where Monash only kicked 1 goal for the game. So hopefully they have been in a lot better form since, although they only kicked 4 goals in the weekend. But hopefully we don't see another blowout like we did there.
Yeah, well, speaking of blowouts, worst case scenario would be for St Mary's Solution to go on another run in Premier C of multiple 130-point plus losses. It happened after they lost to the Roys last time. They lost to the Roys again by 139, I think, on the weekend. So they've got Pegs this week, so hopefully they go all right.
Oh, Pegs are coming off a loss and they're a strong side.
That's all we've got time for.
It's been great.
It's been good fun. Thanks to Margy, thanks to Lucy, and we'll see you all again next week on The Tragics.